Hi everyone, I'm Ross Sinclair, I'm a life coach, and in this video we're going to be tackling the issues of coronavirus, specifically dealing with the kids. So today I had an incident, and this is what propelled me to create this video series, where I was getting frustrated that my son was not doing the dishes, and so then I took over the dishes and started doing it. But meanwhile I was yelling at him while I was doing the dishes, saying, this is what you're meant to be doing and I'm doing it because you didn't do it. And then of course my husband comes in and he says to me, what are you doing? Why are you yelling at him? Why are you doing the dishes? Why don't you just get him to do it? And I realized that helplessness that I had been telling my son off for, ages, and he still wasn't moving, he still wasn't budging, and he still refused to finish off doing the dishes properly. And it was a list of things, a list of chores that he hadn't done properly, and yet his sister had managed to do perfectly. And yet the main issue that I realized was lying there was that he's refusing to start doing his schoolwork. And I know that school holiday is going to end soon and he's going to be slammed with a whole heap of schoolwork while we're working, and the stress just hit me and I started to feel anxious that he should be on top of his game now on the weekends, because during the weekdays I'm working, so I can't help him with his studies and I can't make sure that he gets his quiet time from his brothers, because we're all trying to manage the little brothers at the same time. And in fact I rely quite heavily on my son, my oldest, to look after the youngest ones. So there's it made me realize how stressed I was about schooling. And I've seen some memes, I've seen some videos and stuff about mums and dads having to deal with this issue, and that's why I thought it was really important that I actually create a tapping video for you guys, because we're all in the same boat. So let's try and overcome our issues and our stresses, and by overcoming our stress, what we'll inevitably create is a better working relationship with our children, because we will get into a different mindset that allows us to approach them from a healthier way, that encourages them and actively inspires them to get cracking on their schoolwork, so that we're not the ones yelling and we're not the ones stressing that they're not doing their schoolwork, and the guilt is not falling on our shoulders that they're not up to scratch while they're homeschooling, Okay, so let's just start the tapping. I just wanted to give you that background, but let's just start the tapping. Okay, on the Karate Chop point. So even though I am really angry at my kids because they're not doing their schoolwork and I've been asking them for ages, I choose to have compassion for myself and have compassion for my children, and I choose to honor myself and honor my feelings. Even though I am mad at my son and I don't know how to express it, I choose to love myself, honor myself, and forgive myself anyway. Even though I'm really stressed about him not doing the things he's supposed to be doing. He doesn't do his chores, so why would he do his schoolwork? It's a struggle to get him to do anything. I choose to love myself, honor myself, and forgive myself anyway, and I choose to have compassion for myself, compassion for my children, and compassion for the situation that we're in. Okay, just tapping on the top of the head. I'm allowing compassion into my life. I'm allowing myself to see with open eyes. I'm allowing myself to be guided by my intuition and not by my anger. Tapping on the eyebrow point. It's safe to let go of this anger. I know that I'm stressed and I know that I'm worried, but that's really not going to help the situation. I know that I need him to do the schoolwork, but it's really not going to help by having me tell him off. I know that I need him to get these chores done, but it's really not going to help him or I if I'm yelling about it. I know that I need to get this stuff done, and I know that my children need to get this stuff done. But Yelling doesn't help anyone. It certainly doesn't make me feel good. It definitely doesn't make them feel good. In fact, it brings the whole family down. And I really didn't want to do that. Because that makes me feel like crap. And I don't want to feel like crap. And it makes me feel like a bad person. And I'm not a bad person. I'm just really stressed. I'm really anxious. I'm really worried. There's a lot to be worried about. I have lots of things troubling me at the moment. There's work. There's little kids that still need to be looked after. There's their schooling that still needs to be sorted. There's the stress of just getting to the supermarket without falling sick. There's the fear of dying that just sits in the back of my mind. There's the fear that my child might end up in hospital without me, isolated. There's a lot plaguing me at the moment. So I'm allowed to give myself a break. I'm allowed to have these stresses and vent them while I'm tapping. Because tapping is a great way to vent. Yelling at my kids, that's a useless way to vent. That doesn't do anything for me, doesn't do anything for them, and it really does nothing for affinity. In fact, it breaks us up. And I don't want that. I really want love and affinity in my family. But all this stress keeps weighing on me, and I just can't shake it. I haven't worked out how to let it go. It's really troubling me. The stress of looking after the kids, the stress of working while at home, the stress of keeping my job, having an income, the stress of not falling sick. All right, tapping on the gamut point in between these two fingers, in between the bone. And I surrender all of this to the highest energy for my greater good and the greater good of all those around me and around my family. It's safe to let it all go. All right, take a deep breath, shake it off. Okay, just let those toxins kind of flush out of your body. All right? So there's a lot going on there, and you may have felt some of those things as very true for you and resonating for you, and some of those may not be valid. But if you do feel this anxiety and you do feel this stress, I want you to just keep replaying this video, because it's important for you to release the fears and the worries so that you start to feel better. Okay, so once you've replayed that section a few times, and you've gotten your anxiety down from say an 8 or 9 down to like a 3 or 4, then let's start tapping in the positive. Okay, so we're going to tap in the positive. Even though I still have some of the stress and worry and anxiety, and it has been plaguing me, because I really want my children to succeed, and I want them to stay healthy, and I want them to have a good life, and I want to build love and affinity with my family, I choose to love myself, honor myself, accept myself, and forgive myself anyway. And I choose to have compassion for my children and for me. And it's safe to let go of all these fears and worries. It's safe to let them go. Okay, tapping on the top of the head. I'm allowing myself to feel like a good parent. I'm allowing myself to feel like I'm capable. I'm allowing myself to accept the situation for what it is and journey through it easily, with love and with compassion. Okay, tapping on the eyebrow point. I do have thoughts that I'm a bad parent because I'm not able to get my kids to do the things that they need to do. But I know that that's just my fears and worries, and I'm able to let that go. I do have these thoughts that they're not doing enough or they're not doing their best. But I'm also aware that I could be projecting my anxieties onto them. I know that I have these thoughts that they're not doing well in life and it's all because of me. But I'm also aware that every soul is on their own individual journey and they have their own connection to higher beings that allow them to follow their own intuition. And they can't rely on me because I'm only human. Even though I'm worried that I'm not being a good parent because I'm not making them study enough or do enough, I'm also aware that it could just be some issues that I have, that I'm just not good enough in general. And so I'm willing to take a look at that. I'm willing to delve deeper into what that means for my life and for me. And I'm willing to take the time to release those fears and worries so that it doesn't plague my children and so that I don't end up yelling at them. Even though I've been worried for a long time, I feel free that I could vent while tapping. And I'm glad that I have a space in which I can vent. And I'm glad that my family have allowed me a space in which I can vent. And I'm glad that my children still love me and still want to hang out with me and still want to play with me, even though I told them off. And I'm glad that my partner is still willing to challenge me in the way that I respond to the kids so that we can both be better parents together. Even though I've been struggling with not getting it right and not doing it right and juggling a mountain of things in such stressful times, I know I'm going to be okay. And I know my family is going to be okay. We'll ride it, we'll journey it, we'll be okay. I'm releasing this fear and worry. I'm releasing my stresses. I'm releasing my burdens. And tapping on the gamut point, and I surrender it all to the highest energy for my greater good and the greater good of all those around me, the greater good of my children, and the greater good of me. All right, take a deep breath. Let it out. Thanks for watching. I really hope you get stuff out of this. If you have any questions, please feel free to post it in the comments. If other feelings or issues are coming up, then please feel free to contact me and I'll create another tapping video for you guys. All right. Thank you again. Take care. Bye.